distinguished guests and friends, a recent ad that played in the run-up to the midterm elections deeply troubled me. The ad opens with a caption that reads, Beijing, 2030 AD. A Chinese professor is in an auditorium lecturing his students. Chinese characters behind him read, Global Economics. In perfect Mandarin, he says, and the subtitles read, Why do great nations fail? The ancient Greeks, the Roman Empire, the British Empire, and the United States of America, they all made the same mistakes, turning their back on the principles that made them great. America tried to spend and tax itself out of a great recession. Enormous so-called stimulus spending, massive changes to healthcare, government takeovers of private industry, and crushing debt. Of course, the professor smirks. We owned most of their debt. So now they work for us. The students laugh. The commercial ends. Millions of Americans have watched this ad. Even if one agrees with its views about American spending, you have to be appalled by the ad's characterization of China. When I first watched it, I was depressed by the seemingly insurmountable obstacles we confront in educating Americans about China. This was just one example of the over 50 political ads in this campaign that portrayed China as a thief of American jobs and an enemy of progress. At the same time, I thought of the deep strategic mistrust that many in China have about America's intentions, a mistrust that colors China's views of our economic, environmental, defense, and human rights policies. I despaired, albeit momentarily, considering the obstacles that we confront on both sides of the Pacific. But then I thought about tonight and the enormous commitment that each and every one of you have made to supporting constructive engagement. I thought about people like Jim Owens, Jeff Immelt, and Hank Greenberg, men who have devoted their professional lives to building great companies while promoting constructive engagement. I thought about our chair, Carla Hills, whose public service and commitment to the development of a strong and healthy relationship has been so important to not just the National Committee, but to U.S. China relations more generally. I thought about everyone in this room and the millions of Americans who are committed to understanding China and supporting positive relations. And I thought about the staff of the National Committee who every single day come into work to develop and execute an amazing range of innovative programs that increase understanding and connectiveness. And my depression lifted because of the commitment of so many and because our national interest requires a clear understanding and analysis of China and the relationships. My spirits were especially lifted because of what you have all contributed to the National Committee. I am thrilled, absolutely thrilled, that tonight we have raised $1,070,000. I have to thank our friends at GE, Caterpillar, CV Star, and each and every one of you for this great show of support. We combine the money raised tonight with foundation support and U.S. government grants to conduct our programs. 2010 has been an extremely active year for the National Committee. Our Track 2 dialogues on economic policy, defense issues, and human rights enabled Americans and Chinese to speak candidly about topics that our two governments have difficulty directly addressing. Our Public Intellectuals program has trained 40 outstanding young academics to speak on issues relating to China. We have held 17 public programs on a wide range of issues, including a debate on RMB valuation and rebalancing, and a dinner for Premier Wen Jiabao. Our China Town Hall program, where I interviewed Ambassador Huntsman in Beijing, grew to 52 venues across the United States and Asia. Thousands of Americans participated. We have sent young students and teachers to China and welcomed Chinese students and educators here. Our Young Leaders Forum has continued to build bridges between young Chinese and American leaders. In this election season, I should say, I am pleased that both members of Congress, both members of the Young Leaders Forum, who are also members of Congress, were reelected. That is Gabby Giffords from Arizona, and Eric Paulson from Minnesota, and a third, Kevin Yoder from Kansas, was elected in his first bid. All three were state legislators when they joined the forum and have been elected to Congress. So maybe there's a lesson in that for others who are in the state legislature and aspire to Congress. I should also say, when talking about elections, that our partner in the U.S. Congress, the U.S. China Working Group, had election successes as well. The Democratic co-chair, Congressman Rick Larson, was reelected from Washington State in a very hard-fought and very close election. The Republican co-chair, Mark Kirk, was elected to the Senate from Illinois to fill the seat formerly occupied by Barack Obama. China was an issue in his campaign, and I can only say that America is fortunate to have someone who understands China so well in the United States Senate. Because of our relationship with the working group, we have continued to work with Congress, and this year accompanied several congressional staff delegations to China. Finally, and appropriately on this Veterans Day, we held an intensive 3-day seminar on China earlier this year for senior U.S. Army officers, as we previously did for the Navy and Air Force. In short, we have made a difference in the relationship, and we have been able to succeed because of all of you here tonight. I opened tonight by describing a political ad that deeply offended me. Let me close with an ad I hope to see during the presidential election of 2020. The ad is a split screen. On one side is Chinese President Xi Jinping addressing a joint session of Congress. He is celebrating the 40th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations with the United States and is acknowledging that China's accomplishments would not have been possible without America's support and cooperation. On the other side is the American president addressing the National People's Congress in the Great Hall of the People, laying out the contribution that Sino-American relations have made to peace and stability in the world. Below are pictures, are rotating pictures of a wind farm built in Northern California with Chinese capital and U.S. labor. A high-speed rail between New York and Washington using Chinese technology and built by Chinese and American workers. A GE CAT scan diagnosing patients in Chinese hospitals, and Caterpillar equipment building Chinese roads. American workers are saying, Our president saved our infrastructure and our jobs. The ad then quotes from the Old Testament, where there is no vision, the people perish. It concludes, with shared vision, the people prosper. Re-elect the president, she returned prosperity to America.